On most mornings, I do not have the strength to bring both of my dogs out at once, but on this morning I was feeling
don't pee on him.
a little bit extra brave. They can be like 10 hands full on their best behavior.
Don't pee on him.
But Fenrir loves to swim, and Zim's never had a chance to do it before. It's also been unbearably hot lately, so I knew it was about time to give him a chance to splash around. Aside from peeing all over each other, they actually surprised me with how well behaved they were. We were the only people out this early, and it was so quiet and secluded and peaceful, aside from Zim whining every time he saw Fenrir and I getting into the deeper waters. And by halfway through the morning, all the pee didn't even matter because they were both splashing around and getting soaked. I think that counts as a bath. By dog standards, this is a bath. Zim was getting sort of frustrated watching Fenrir and I swimming around and not being able to join us. We had this really sweet moment where I was so patient with him and really encouraging, and he finally did swim over into my arms and let me catch him for 1 second before he used my boob as a kickboard to launch himself back to shore. It was a nice, sweet memory that I'll cherish forever, along with the scratch marks on my boobs. Anyway, I found this really cute tiny frog. You can see him for about one single frame right here. There he is. Fenrir did not like me getting into the deep waters. This is him trying to launch sort of a rescue mission to pull me out of there, which ended up with me performing a rescue mission to pull him out of there. Another cute bonding moment though, because when I grabbed him out of frame, he wrapped his giant legs around me and licked my face all over like he thought I had just died and come back. This trip to the creek definitely wasn't as peaceful as when I go by myself, but it was fun in its own way, and we'll for sure be doing it again. It's a pb&j for lunch kind of day because we are beat. We're all pretty tired. We're all feeling the crash right about now. I could go fall asleep on the floor again, except then I would sleep until 7:30 p.m. This episode of my Day in the Life of a 20-something-year-old with no friends series is a special one because it's gonna be the last one. I'm sort of a loner by nature. I'm definitely someone who prefers a lot of solitude, and I've benefited a lot from it. I think especially in the last few years, it wasn't a bad thing for me to be spending so much time alone. I felt really fulfilled by it. But I'm moving into a stage of my life where I think it's time for that to come to an end. It's time for me to make friends who don't live 600 plus miles away from me. So I'm gonna start going out with people and doing things and talking about stuff. It'll be great, it'll be fun, it'll be fantastic even. Maybe a bit of a learning curve to it for someone as attached to her alone time as I am, but I'm willing to put in the work. Good boy. The last time I was at the library, I was struck with the sudden urge to start reading YA fiction again. I used to be obsessed with it. It used to be almost all I read, and then I just gave it up really suddenly one day and got kind of nostalgic for it recently. I am completely lost on like what the good series are these days. I just grabbed the first book that sounded like it might be half decent. I'll say there was some suspect looking material in my library's YA section. Not suspect as in like morally bad, just suspect as in why was this written? But let me know what some good recommendations are. A YA series I've been trying to get a hold of for months is Twilight. I need everyone else to stop being into Twilight again, so they'll all donate their books to Goodwill and I can buy the whole set for like $6. Because I only ever find one book at a time in used bookstores, and it's never the first one either. And I can't buy them all separately because then what if I get them all mismatched? And then it just looks all jumbled and goofy on my shelf. Now, of course, I could just buy the full set used online, but then I wouldn't have that sense of victory at finding it and claiming it and bringing it home like a big juicy deer in the mouth of a lion. It's a conquest when I finally thrift something I've been looking for forever. I got a family dinner to go to tonight, and as you may see, I got some bananas I need to get through quick. So I'm using this as my excuse to get rid of them. We're making banana muffins with a crumb topping and an icing glaze, possibly. We'll see how I'm feeling when I get to it. One of the greatest struggles I have with forming like a tight-knit, solid friend group is that I want to have one, but I don't want to do everything it takes to make one. I don't really like meeting people. I don't like awkward first conversations or like first friend dates. I build them up in my head into something much worse than they are in reality, but knowing that doesn't actually stop me from doing it every time anyway. I can know in my head that meeting up with this new person is gonna be fine and we're gonna have fun together, but that doesn't stop me from making a huge deal out of it and panicking over the most ridiculous things, which is something I have to almost just like exposure therapy. That's the method I've chosen because I don't really know how else to get over it. I just have to make myself do it anyway. And I always end up enjoying it anyway. I'm a muffins over cupcakes kind of girl. I don't think I've ever had one cupcake that was as good as the average muffin to me. Gun to my head, I could not tell you what the difference between the two is. Can you explain the difference between a muffin and a cupcake to someone? Because first I want to be like, well, a muffin is more dense, but I've had some pretty dense cupcakes. And then I want to be like, well, a muffin is less sweet, but that's not true at all. I bake them. I know exactly how much godforsaken sugar goes in there. And then I'm like, okay, hold on. So have I just been like brainwashed into thinking there's a difference between these two things? Is a muffin just like a cupcake without icing? If you tied me down and blindfolded me and force-fed me a muffin or a cupcake, could I tell you the difference? Life on the line, could I tell the difference? I like to think I could, but I don't know if I can tell you that with any certainty. So the muffins were a hit. There's only 2 left now. One for you and one for me. You have to eat it before Zim snatches it off the table though. I don't know how many people may or may not be able to relate to this, but for me, one of the biggest struggles with making friends as an adult is finding communal spaces to meet people in that don't revolve around alcohol consumption. Because I don't really drink. And I don't really like being around drunk people, but in modern Western culture, we have a severe lack of spaces that exist for the purpose of meeting other people, and the very few ones that do, like bars or clubs, revolve around being drunk and being around drunk people. And I've gone looking for other places to meet up with that don't involve those things, like anything, like book clubs, art classes, hiking groups, yoga classes, whatever. But the people who regularly attend those groups tend to be several decades older than me. Making friends as a young adult, you're really playing a game that's been stacked against you from the start. It takes so much conscious effort most of the time, and I think a lot of people, even while being desperately lonely, are not actually willing to put in the time and the dedication it takes to do that. I genuinely think that as an adult, you almost have to date your friends. You have to be so deliberate about setting up times to meet up with each other, about keeping up with your communication. It's like a full-time job, honestly. It's exhausting. But I believe, I have faith in it, and we're gonna make it work.